I'm Tyson,
And I'm the mayor, Steve.
and this is the Copper Lodge.
Give me all you can sing me home. Give me sing the beauty of the stage. You'll be my downfall, baby. You'll be my great undoing.
Hey, yeah, I always like doing that type of stuff for you guys, so I hope you enjoy that.
That's a wow on the your cinema. I'm already feeling like I hope I live up to that opening.
Right? That's how I always feel. And then I start talking, I'm like, no, not going to live up. But hey, how you doing, man?
Oh, doing really well. We've had kind of a couple inside days here at the house, getting in each other's way a little bit. It's nice to have a room, can lock the door and kind of have
So do
some
you
space.
actually teach from there?
Well, I will next week. We've actually just been taking back our numbers, whatever they're basing it off of, are so high that we're gonna do like what they call a 10-day pause, and they're kind of tying it into MLK Day tomorrow
Okay.
and President's Weekend. So we'll get 10 days off, and then we'll be back.
Yeah.
So
I know we got a phone call and email from our kids, from our principals, and they're like, yep, they're off until the 24th of this. So a little more than 10 days from when they started last week.
now, will they do remote when?
Yeah, they're doing remote. They
Yeah.
all got computers from the schools, and they have to sign in and do all their homework. But as you know, it's not the same.
I would say my 20 years teaching, I'd give it at best 30 to 35% value of being in school.
Yeah. Yeah, and I remember last year they were like, if you got an F or a D or something like that, they would just give you a P for passing instead because they felt like it was unfair to the student. And I'm like,
Right.
man, I don't get this. So,
It-
but I'm not a teacher like you are, and so you guys get it, and I don't. But I heard that teaching, it's really hard to get the kids focused and energetic and ready to go.
It is very hard, but the payoff is the variety of life and getting to know so many families and getting to know like just 100, getting to know kind of 140 people every year. You really see some stuff. You really learn a lot about how you want to be as a parent, what mistakes to make, what not to, and I kind of look at it like that. But it can be tough. A lot of people's jobs are way more involved than they want them to be right now.
Right. So when they're remote teaching, you are, and they're all learning, and their cameras are on. Is there anything you ever see that you're like, oh crap, I saw that?
Well, the
like
camera
backgrounds where parents are walking back or they're yelling at their kids or anything like that.
Oh, I've had a couple kids get yelled at. As a parent, as the one I try not to yell, but I've been there on the other side of it as far as how that goes. I encourage them to keep the cameras on while we're talking and discussing things. And but after that, when we're talking discussing with the cameras, but then it becomes like if they just leave them on, they distract each other. The one kid can still have his little show in the corner and all that stuff. So I try not to make too many rules that I can't actually enforce.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, so usually at the very beginning, we just say hi to everyone, just like you do in your show. So first, we got Mr. E. He's always here first. It's him,
right.
Bato, Ellie, or Landshark. So, and then how you doing, Ellie? Miss Water and Oreos. Still think it's the weirdest thing ever.
Water and Oreos.
That's what she eats. She loves it.
More than milk and Oreos?
I don't know. I just know that she does water and Oreos, so I'd imagine so. Then we got Casey. Actually, Casey drove 14 hours and came and worked with me a little bit this weekend, so it was kind of nice.
14 hours.
Yeah, he lives in South Dakota, so.
Wow. That's not a very, well, would that be a beautiful drive? I don't know. Are you out of the foothills or, I can't imagine.
Kennebec or something like that.
Okay.
So it's on the way to Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
So usually if you're driving to Mount Rushmore and you have to stop at a gas station, that's usually his.
Oh, yes. Now, yeah. We've got, it's kind of where we live in our place in Pennsylvania is kind of, if you know where the Breezewood gas station, the truck stop is, because it's in the mountains, there's not a ton of exits. So we're pretty much just between exits.
Yeah, so I took him and his wife up to Park City and kind of get to experience Sundance Film Festival and all that kind of stuff. So it was kind of fun. Got to show him not Mount Rushmore, Sundance, where the Robert Redford owns that resort and all that kind of stuff. So what's up, Bill? Bill's actually in Taylorsville right now. So that's in Salt Lake.
Oh, wow.
And we got Travis. How you doing, Travis? Appreciate you coming. We got Nick. You know Nick. Everyone knows Nick.
Yeah, you can't miss Nick. You wouldn't let you if you tried.
Then we got Jason. Jason will actually be our guest next week.
Oh, and he was on Beard Advice Live too.
Nice.
Yeah, I believe you sent in, and we were able to help a little bit. And I think he's kind of sometimes that show can be a little bit of a introduction to the community itself.
Yes, and he was also on Ken's live where they do introductions to lives and how to do lives and stuff. And Jason just started a channel, and they had their first live this week. It was fun.
Good.
They did a lot of dad jokes. I was laughing.
Now, but do we want to just as dads, do we want to give up that term? Are we okay with that? That it's, corny joke is now dad joke. I mean, I think about that sometimes.
And half the time I don't realize I'm doing one of those jokes, but I just do it naturally. And I'm like, oh yeah, that is a dad joke. We got Mr. Wolverine. How you doing, buddy? Appreciate you coming. I have to call him Mr. Wolverine. Hey, Steven. Appreciate you joining us today, man.
Welcome.
All right, Willie D. I have actually never seen him.
Welcome, Willie.
So, Willie, if you're new here, let me know and let us know where you're from, man. Appreciate you joining us. And, appreciate it, man. Okay, who else do we have? I'm just strolling there, having a long conversation and saying hi. We got Mr. Ryan. How you doing, Ryan? Hey, your show was epic today. Good job today. And then we got your friend and my friend, Dan. How you doing, Dan?
Hello, Dan.
Then we got Mel. How you doing, Mel? And Ken. Appreciate you guys coming. All right, we're going to be here forever if we keep saying hi. What's up, Matt? Hey, Amanda. All right, I hate saying missing anyone. Dagan, how you doing, buddy?
Get him. I'm not in a rush. We actually have the day off tomorrow from school, so although I do have another. We got time though.
You do have another stream. And that's got to be one of the funnest streams too. I really, really, really been enjoying that.
Every week, I'm really excited for this show because tonight, like I let down, I showed a little more. I'm taking a little bit more. I don't want to say risk with Dan watching, but it's not a risk. But just have more fun as you get comfortable, and I'm excited. I think how lucky am I to kind of have a vision and take things and see if they pop or they don't, and have all these great community supporters to kind of be there with me.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so speaking of which, so let's just dive right into it. So tell us a little about who you are and, what you've been doing and all that fun stuff.
So my name is Steve. It's been that way my whole life. I am first of all, I'm a husband and a father, and I have two great sons and a wonderful wife, and they are hopefully I don't know if they're watching or not. I think I put it on the kitchen television for them to watch, but we got that Oculus, and it's been touch and go because the boys have both gotten all in on it. So we had a little heat with that this week.
Do you have like the Jedi lightsaber one where they hit all the blocks and stuff?
Beat Saber. It's the first video game that I felt like I may have maybe I'm just my reflexes are a little off, or I don't know, because it's tough. But it's fun. But so I've taught for 20 years. I teach 8th grade science in middle school. I taught 7th. I think it's about an even split in my years on each grade. Things like it's still a general science, but we do things like natural selection, which is really fun and interesting. Adaptations, what we're finishing now. Then we'll get into we'll get into weather, climate change.
So water. Natural selection, though, is that have to deal with evolution and everything like that?
Sure. And that has the approach to that. When I started 20 years ago, is that you would be very, very careful with how you went through it. And I come from a faith background, and I always kind of put that in as well. But there's really irrefutable evidence that we can see that you can look at different species and you can see that it evolves. Right. And that's a great visual for the kids in science. And I I like doing that one. We talk about bed bugs a lot and how do they develop a resistance to insecticides and things, and why are they so good? Kind of like everything is very they call it like scenario based. So you have like a story, and it's okay to a point, but the 20-year teacher me also thinks that sometimes it's extra time too. So anyways, how did I end up here? I'm a teacher. So the guy down the hall has a big beard, and he happened to be one of my good friends, and from hanging out with him to getting involved to pushing myself to a little outside my comfort box, I started getting involved with Dan's channel, and now I'm part of it.
Yeah. And you have grown immensely. I watched right from the very beginning when you guys did your first live, and thought this is a really good idea. Then it evolved into what it is now, where you guys are not critiquing but giving advice and helping people have a better beard and be more confident about what they have and stuff like that. And I really, really like that.
Yeah, I think that's the meat and potatoes of what we're talking about with all of this, with the companies, with the market is if just the idea of you can be whoever you want to be as far as your facial hair, have it can look any way you want it, own it. But we're on this show, on the Beard Advice Show, we're going to give you our best guess. We're going to do it in a polite way, a supportive way. We've got 100 200 people sometimes in the chat that are just like looking at it. And it's funny, you have a cast of characters that kind of arise. You have your first guy that always shows up. We have people that we ask on certain topics. It just goes. And it started out, like you said, it was majorly bearded. It wasn't real. It was just kind of, honestly, I think looking back, it was more like comfort time, just time for
it was just a conversation. It felt like,
right, and get to know each other. And I was just always listening to Dan, and always asking literally every question I had about the terms I would hear, and slowly but surely it kind of sunk in, and I can apply some of that to what I do.
Yeah. So Ken goes, you work with someone else with a beard mirror?
No, well, actually, most of the men at our building have beards.
Is it because of you two, or because of Dan?
I think it's his culture. He's changed the culture of our building. Some guys would have already, of course, but I know I never would have. I think it has really changed the dynamic, because he's such a killer teacher that he could look like he could be blue with a big spike on his head and roller skate, but the kids get so much out of him, get out of what he does in class, and he's so invested in them that people don't see the beard, they see the great teacher.
Yeah, so
I do. At least I do.
No, there's certain personas out there that people really gravitate to, and when you have confidence and you're kind and you're willing to help other people, I think that a lot of people like that, and I think that's why you two work well together, especially during Beard Advice. But that's why it was so much fun to see your first show, like when you had me, like the pictures of all of us before and after and all that, with a beard and without a beard. I thought that was genius, and it was really, really cool. But yeah, see, Beard Wolverine absolutely loves your guys' show, so
appreciate that.
So with you said in your bio, you said you've been a husband. Well, you've been a husband, you still are a husband, and you have 2 boys. How has your wife liked you being part of the community, doing the Beard Advice Live, and now Beyond Bearded? And does she get sick of it, where my wife used to watch every live and now she's like, how did it go?
Well, I honestly, first of all, she couldn't be more supportive. She, there was a long time that I kind of was thinking I wanted to be a school administrator. I have my degree in it. I kind of just didn't hit it right. And I didn't find, I wasn't willing to go to like a different district and move us and mix up our lives to get that title or that role. And so she saw my frustration with that. And then I think fast forward to today, she sees how Dan and Sam value what I do, how happy it makes me, how it's a creative outlet. So she just loves me and wants me to do well. I'm really, really lucky in that regard. But yeah, it does hit a point. There are times now when I need to be better about putting the phone away and not moving and grooving in that world as much as in our world. We stopped today and played a couple board games with the boys, and that was really good. Just so she's good for that. But I don't know if she watches every live that I do. I'm okay with that too. I don't want her to feel like she's like stapled to the watching the things I do. Plus, sometimes I try to get away with a comment or two if she's not watching. So, I don't know. I don't know if she's gonna go back and watch everything now, but she couldn't be more supportive. She loves I think the journey that I've been on. I would say you talk about beard journey. I would venture to guess that my journey growing a beard for the first time is maybe one of the tales of this age, because it really has impacted every aspect of my life.
It really does.
She knows that I'm more just the time with Dan and the time just with what I'm doing, and then getting the appreciation from people have all kind of built confidence. And that confidence, I was kind of like on the short side of that, like just like not awful, but it did hold me back in certain areas. And this has kind of brought me to that other side. Whereas I'm not, Dan, I'm not like kind of like, I don't know. We, like you said, we complement each other really well. Yeah. But I'm into a functional, like able to contribute kind of confidence level. I don't get super nervous before things, and yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, and that's what's amazing is when you did your Beyond Bearded, your first show, you just did it, and I'm like, dude, I'd be petrified doing it by myself for the very first time.
It was a big audience.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You had like 200 plus people there, and they're all there to see you. I would be scared, to be honest with you. I'd be nervous, but you handled it well, and you did your job, and I'm like, dude.
I was definitely nervous at the beginning of the show, and I loosened up. I got comfortable, but it was what was I most nervous about was just I was, Dan has poured his heart and soul, Sam too, into the channel, and I want to live. I want to have a product that is at least worthy. It doesn't have to be like it's not going to be as perfect as like a Command's Corner, but it's going to be something people enjoy and different in a lot of ways too, but also to the standard.
Well, also, if you look at Command's Corner, since I've been in the community and since I've opened up shop, so to speak, his channel is all evolved. What he does on Command's Corner, what you've done on Bearded Advice, and now Beyond Bearded, it's a continuous flow of, as we're talking about evolution, and it just keeps getting better and better, and you switch a few things. So, that's the natural progression, is just getting better. So. Steve Marriage, just a bunch of friends hanging out. Nerves, though nerves can come. You did great and settled in just fine.
I appreciate it. That's the thing is I always have to I think I recently watched you, and you have Dan on the Copper Lots like a month ago.
Yeah.
And you guys were just talking about do you get nervous and all that. And like I said, for me, it was just I really wanted to get the first show kind of out of the way in a way. And then I know that the show is going to evolve. It's just like teaching a classroom in some ways, where you create a culture and you try to live in that. And I, again, have learned a great deal from Dan about those things. Like the first reason I got interested in what he was doing or who he was, my first impression was how does this guy have, how great academic record, great kids are learning, but they also love him. My sons were swimmers for him on a swim team. And, so I didn't understand how swim meets were scored. I still don't. I don't really care to. But he found they'd walk out and it'd be like the USA versus the Soviet Union, and he'd find a way and they'd win and be like, you won. And, so he very good strategy. The kids loved it. They loved being part of a winning group, and they loved him.
Yeah. Funny story about swimming, and sorry to make it about me, but
oh no.
Well, I got into wrestling in junior high and high school. The reason being is because I tried out for the swim team in high school when I was a freshman, 9th grade, and I tried out. And then what was funny is, so they have everyone do their swim, do the butterfly, do everything that they're supposed to do, and then they lined everyone up. They lined everyone up. And they if we call your name, please come forward. And they called everyone's name but mine.
All of them?
Everyone. And then they just have me. It's like, if your name wasn't called, better luck next year. I'm like, dude, you could just pull me off to the side. And I had a self-esteem and everything. I was like, dude, I understand. I sink. I played football for a reason, wrestled. But I was just laughing so hard. Now I think about it, I'm like, dude, what was that guy thinking?
No, you get written up for that at work anymore.
Oh, really?
Singing a lot of kid like that, you could. Not thinking it through.
Yeah, no, I was the only one. I'm like, okay.
I mean, parents would be, yeah. I mean, it's a different world. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but it's a different,
It is.
to some extent it's right, but we do need to have our kids learn how to cope with things too.
So, what now with your two boys? You guys play board games and stuff. You have an Oculus now. What do you like to do with them on your off times when you're not working with Dan and working on your channel?
Lately, my 12-year-old son Owen and I have settled into like a kind of like the Madden and NBA 2K, FIFA. I love FIFA, but he won't play me because I smoke him, like trash him. But like playing those sports games together with Owen, we really enjoy that. And my youngest son has really gotten back into Pokemon. Like kind of how I started hanging out with Dan was Pokemon Go, crazy trips to Detroit and Ann Arbor at night, coming home at 2:30, trying to catch digital digital things that are whatever. But we had a great time and we just got to be such good friends. But anyways, so Luke and I have been kind of getting into that. Like he had me try to beat a certain game for him on that. Luke is the one I took fly fishing to learn with my uncle over at his place. But settling into a rhythm, it's tough sometimes. It's I will acknowledge as I think about it too. There's I should have 20 different things that I do with them.
I feel the same way. But
I don't have that many. They're pretty active. They're both in like swimming 3 practices a week kind of thing, and we keep him busy. And then Owen has his drums, and we've been pushing Luke for an instrument as well. But he's pushing right back.
Well, that's awesome. Drums, huh? My dad, he taught me drums. Like he played in a band and everything, and he was about to get signed by the same people who signed Beach Boys.
Oh,
but
wow.
They were so too demanding that he said I can't do it because what his time constraints were with hanging out with us. But their name was Greg Simpson, and he's still pretty big in the local area, but he could have been big.
I should have been a drum player. Like he'll get going down here, and you can't help but hear it. But like, it just fires me up. Like the power of a marching band.
Dude, right? The drum line at a college football game is the funnest thing ever.
We're Spartans. MSU, Michigan State, and I remember. I think he fell in love with the drums when you line up with them outside the stadium. And then you hear it, and then they walk in through there, and you go up to your seat or whatever. But drums they get you going. Love them.
Yeah, absolutely. So you should actually film him and post it.
Okay,
I think that would be fun to see.
All right, we could do that. I think you'd like that. He's he kind of vacillates between complete like embarrassment that I do this stuff to complete like super into it. He wants me to shout him out on Instagram, and I'm like, well, you can't even have Instagram on, so we're not there yet. But that is. I think in the Facebook group I put a video out once or twice, but
there's so many posts on your Facebook group that you miss quite a bit.
Oh, there's
I do just because all of a sudden I'll see something, I'll like it, and then next thing I know, there's like 20 more posts in 2 minutes. I'm like, oh,
right. That's the rub, isn't it? But that's there's other bigger beard groups on Facebook, but I don't think that they're more active.
I don't think there's a more active community than what you guys have created. Absolutely, I agree with that.
Thank you. I'm really proud of that group. That was one of those, that was the first real official involvement that I got with the channel in a way. And Dan had this vision. I had never had Facebook. I'd never had an account. I had no socials at all before I got involved in this channel. And Dan set up my Instagram account, and I've learned a lot with that. And then the Facebook group, I was brand new to it, but it's really good because there's beard guys that really like Instagram and the pictures and the visual, and there's beard guys that like YouTube and the chat and the live stream, and then there's beard guys that like the videos only and they comment that way. And then there's guys that like on Facebook that are more literal, like more type and watch and read and a video here and there, but they share their stories through words. And there really was a spot for it. And it's gone well.
Yeah, and it's an environment where it's non-judgment. Like there's no one's going to talk crap about someone else or anything like that, and I like that too.
Yeah, there's no time for that. We're not going to play that game.
No, I agree with you completely. Speaking of which, since you've started your show, I'm sure you get criticism and stuff like that. How have you dealt with that? You being, I mean, you're not new, but let's say
Right.
you're fairly new.
But
So
there's
how have you dealt with the criticism? Because, as you grow, you're going to get more, not because you've gotten any worse or anything like that. Just the platform's bigger.
sure.
So how does that work?
You
How have you
know,
dealt with that?
I got a guy. I put a lot into Dan.
You got this guy.
I got a guy, and if I get a message or something that I'm, it's that happened last week. You take it one way, but then you step back, and he kind of always has a little bit more. Well, he's got more experience with like situations like that. But the long story short, basically just me being new, especially managing the chat for that big of a show, people get missed. People, their feelings get hurt and understandably. But on the other side of it, understandably, I'm kind of like 2 weeks in, and I'm just kind of flying by the seat of my pants as far as that goes from the chat. So just framing, like having perspective with that. And he said, well, you know what? The thing is, this person, like look at it like this. Somebody really wants to be recognized, so how you respond is how you respond. And so I have learned from teaching to sit on things like that and just like think about it a little bit.
Yeah.
It might hit you wrong one way, but 9 times out of 10, you would, if you wait 3 hours, you would really regret not having, given it a little bit more time.
So yeah, there's a quote in a book that I read when I was teaching, I was teaching, but when I was in sales. And it was like How to Win and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
Mm-hmm.
If you've ever read that or listened
I've
to
heard
it.
of it.
Yeah, there's one part where he talks about how Abraham Lincoln, you never hear him say anything bad about any of his critics or anything like that. And it was because he would write everything down and then just throw it away. Because there's no benefit or no positivity that comes out of it, or any help that comes in being angry at someone and showing them that way. So I thought that was pretty
cool. Yeah, and you do have to acknowledge that you do need to get it out. Sometimes you have to have a person it needs to be said to. You have to put it on pen and paper. But you do need to kind of get it out in a way. But it's about being constructive with that process.
Yeah, it's very constructive. I agree with that. So yeah, I don't know why I brought that up. It just for some reason it popped in my head.
That's the beauty of live stream.
Right. So, you have lots of influential people in your lives. You have your wife, you have your children, your parents, the people you work with. Who do you look up to the most, and what qualities does that individual have?
Well,
you don't have to tell me an individual name, just maybe what qualities whatever you feel comfortable with.
Well, I think for me, it's people. I truly the people in my life that are automatic, that are there when you talk about being on time, talk about doing what they're supposed to, or automatic with their support of you. Those are closer friends. Those are being somebody I don't even need to question whether they're going to be where they say they're going to be, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
People that I admire honesty, but with tact. Honesty without, because you can be a very honest person and be very cruel as well in certain situations. That comes up a lot in middle school, and having, I also admire humility, being humility or humbleness, being always realizing, like just your place in the universe. I believe, people with faith, I'm a scientist, but I have faith. I believe in God and all that. And that comes back to being humble, because I really believe that we just don't perceive everything. There's stuff out there. There are things, there are levels that we just don't get to. I don't feel like with my eyes and my ears. I mean, there are sounds that we can't hear, lower and higher, all day, every day, so why wouldn't there be other things that we just can't we're not capable of it? In fact, it's kind of, I think it's kind of arrogant to think that you would be able to get a grip on the universe from the perspective of a person here on the earth. I mean, you do your best and you learn, but I don't know, maybe we're not meant to. So I admire those things. And then people with confidence, I'm thinking of a couple that have really helped to show me my, my true self. that I can just really honestly just be able to say how I feel and do it in a way that comes across nicely. But being able to speak your mind and truly know that your opinion is valued. So those people, I admire anybody who is willing to do that. And the last thing would be like, and then you have your big changes. Like I was reading the Will Smith book. We were talking about that, and he was talking about meeting Nelson Mandela. And there's a guy, like if you're going to admire somebody, or even to a point, Muhammad Ali, he wouldn't, with his things with the draft and how he said that, like just willing to go to jail because he didn't feel like he was being backed up by the country that wanted him to go back him up. Like straight up, that's not just, guts. It's a lot of things. So, and Nelson Mandela went to jail for what, 20, 30 years. Most of his life was behind bars because of what he really believed. And he turned out to be kind of right,
So I like what Wolverine has to say. You'll attract more people with honey, even when you have to correct people. It's about wanting them to do better and not being a judge and jury. I told you yesterday when we were talking and everything that I read that book by Gary Vee, 12 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things, so in I've heard a lot of times radical candor, like you have to be just tell them how it is to help them and all that kind of stuff. And he came out with a philosophy of kind candor, where just exactly what you're saying is you don't have to be mean about it and cruel, but you can tell someone in a way where, hey, you are what Wolverine's saying here is you can tell them how they need to adjust something, but you can also be kind about it and not show them that you love them. So I like that. I like what you just said.
Being able to flip perspective. I have lots of experience in not getting that next level job, and the way you're treated through that, you can either, kind of close off certain aspects because you don't feel it was right or whatever, or you can say, well, how could it have been better? What would you have done differently? And then you apply that when you have not great news for people or whatever. Yeah.
Well, flipping the script, pun intended, with what we're about to talk about is theater.
Okay.
So, I absolutely love theater. My son and I have been in lots of shows, and I've actually been in a show with all my kids. Like when we did, now I can't even think about it. The piano, the trumpeter, and all that kind of stuff. The wagon wheels.
Was it Roger Hammerstein, or was it an old school?
Yeah, it's an old one.
Wait,
Wells Fargo wagon comes up.
Yeah. Music Man.
Yeah. So I was with all my kids at Music Man. It was really fun. But so it's something that my family has really enjoyed, and so I got to learn how to love it, and now I really do. So tell us about your theater career, because that's to me that's really interesting, and I love it.
So I was always always, I guess, a little bit like elementary. We did some like community ed classes, but I got into it in the junior high, and we had an actual like true theater in my junior high, which most of them don't anymore. We have like in my building like a cafetorium, which you can't do anything with because most of the time they're eating lunch there or whatever. But so we had a true theater in junior high. I had a teacher theater teacher I loved. I was always gym and theater class would be my extras. And I really was very shy in the beginning, and I struggled to memorize my lines, but that was such a great lesson. And getting out there, you only have to get out there once in front of your classmates or whatever, and not be rock solid on your lines to know that you never want that feeling again. Because you can't really think about your character if you're only thinking about what you're going to say. But that's what junior high theater is like learning first things first and that kind of thing. But it's fun. It's obviously the people involved in theater are theatrical people. And I was very to a point, like very socially like aware, and kind of it left me from getting into characters a little bit. But as I grew, and I just kind of like hit a point in high school, and I would do the musicals too. I was actually the president of our high school choir, which sounds not like a big deal, but it was like 120 people, football players, basketball players, anybody that could sing. The director we had done a great job at laying the foundation, building that culture where if you could sing it, regardless of who you were in the building, you were in you could be a part of it if you tried out and made it.
Yeah.
And we went to England and sang and did that. And then I did high school musicals. Like I said, I did like kind of like, I feel like they were old, a little bit old school, but like Oklahoma, I was Will Parker, which is like the second lead. And then there's one called Little Mary Sunshine where, it's just like silly stuff. I never really got the irony of some of them. Looking back as an adult, I kind of like, oh, I should have done, kind of gotten loosened up a little bit with how I played that or whatever. But so I enjoyed that. I did a play and a musical most years. My senior year, I hadn't been doing the plays and had just been doing, like, we had 2 plays and 1 musical every year, and I would miss out on the first play because of soccer. But actually my senior year, I didn't play soccer, and I just did both plays and the musical and really enjoyed it.
Yeah, they're fun.
And now it's a huge part of, like we were talking yesterday, I took my wife and I paid big money to take our sons to see Hamilton in person and down in Detroit. And we had already seen it in Chicago. And my gosh, like, how does it not move you? How can you not, like, if you don't feel like a good play, good musical can take you to a place that you can't get through a screen.
Have you seen Dear Evan Hansen yet?
No.
Dude, you got to see Dear Evan Hansen.
Okay.
It's a really good show. Actually, they just made a movie with the same character just so that everyone could see him because he was that good.
Oh, wow. So, Dear Evan, all right, I'll check it out.
It's a really good one. So, yeah, it's about an unpopular kid struggling in life, and he becomes popular because, anyway, you have to see it, but it's really, really strong.
Oh,
it's about how to deal with life and how to deal with honesty and what the difference between popular and not popular and how to survive and all that kind of stuff. It's a really, really strong. It's about, depression. It's a really good show.
I would that, and I don't know about it, but everything you're saying makes me think I need to watch them with my kids.
Yeah,
the kind of perspective. I'm a big proponent of shared experience with, like, the Wonder Years. We dragged that out when the boy, we're going through like the first round of COVID. I guess we're still kind of going through it, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but
right?
I don't think about it too much. But the Fred Savage Wonder Years and all the like, even though it doesn't, I feel like my experience as a teacher and a parent has helped me with a parent. And sometimes, like, when you're watching the guy get dumped and him feeling horrible and all those real human things that really do happen, just maybe you don't talk about it, but your parent, that your parents see this and they're not like astonished that this has ever happened, because it happens to everybody.
Yeah.
So that they know it's okay that if it happened, something, go through something that's rough. Because my parents were fantastic, but I was just like so turned in as a kid, so kind of like in my own like little head, doing my own thing. I wish I had been more open, and I believe our sons are both. Well, one is for sure like more open with his feelings. When things go wrong, we're all going to go through it together. Kind of, he shares a lot of that, and that is honestly the much more healthy. Not always super convenient as a parent, but it gets messy at times. But
yeah.
It is it's the place to be, I think, as you try to navigate just raising a kid right now.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, now let's get into a little bit about your stream, Beyond Bearded. So what kind of brought that about? What was the conversation between you and Dan and said, hey, this is a good idea, we should start doing this?
Well, I think I did Ken's stream a while back.
Okay.
And
you've done quite a few streams.
I did. Well, anyway, whatever Dan, and I think Dan and Sam happen to both watch or see part of it, and they kind of like, I think that got the wheels turning for them, and they are, it's just like that whole idea. Like I said, he's worked so hard for this channel. How do we bring him in? And then it kind of blossomed into, he said, it started out as just, we want to work on you going live, once a week on the channel. And then we kind of talked about, well, what are we going to talk about? What are we going to do? And, he had said, I really think that the vision of the show is the people, the community that we've created, but also pushing, kind of relating beyond just talking about beards, relating to each other and realizing, because I truly believe that good people are good people. People that are guys that, and we do have our females as well, which are like,
absolutely
hugely like a big part of it. Like, like Molly or in our Beard Advice show, or Ellie's everywhere, like they are.
We have Amanda right here. We have
Amanda,
Ellie, who's always in the chats and everything.
But guys guys our age, we need this kind of relatability with everybody being so, it's just, we just can't get together as much. There's power in live stream, so let's see where it can go. So anyways, it was like, I think it was late November. It was right over Thanksgiving break, and within like 3 days, my dad was building this wall back here, this door, because this had been, we were making a studio. I was talking to my friend Tim, that is a moderator on Dan's channel, that, hey, I need a computer. I don't know anything about it. I have this much, here, how much money for this? How much, and he was willing to do that. This, as a friend, kind of throw it all together for me. And it is, so the computer, I just wanted it to be like thoughtless. Like it had to just go. And I didn't care much more, and it really has. And I said, the big thing was I wanted 2 monitors, and he got me that. And but I'm not. I guess I could game on it, although I think video cards are pretty expensive. But like, if you've been reading Gary Vee, he's not big on video games.
No,
for guys like, and he's right. I have since kind of given it all up, except when I'm playing with my son.
Yeah, well, there's a difference between doing it by yourself and actually creating memories with your child. So.
Yeah, and I'm not very good at them. So
yeah,
it was also,
they get to make fun of us just like I am.
Right. I mean, I always kind of think it would be cool to like have a tournament of 8 beard guys in Rocket League or something like that, and just like to sit together and stream it together and get enough people involved that would want to do that. I think that could be fun. That'd be like another way to connect. But like that. But right now we're just with Beyond Bearded. We're learning I just kind of go in different directions. Like tonight we're going to talk about like I got this like pack of colognes, and I'm gonna pick a couple out and just give people, like, I've never smelled it. I'm gonna give you my first fast impression. Literally, I just write my phone when I think of things, and I try to spin it into something of value with that show, and just to talk. And I think my core belief with that, with everything, with how my approach to this whole live stream, this whole whatever is that all of us are way more similar than different.
Oh yeah.
And I'm 10 years older than Dan, so I have a little bit.
You're 6 months older than me.
Yeah, there you go. And you get the idea that share, like, these shared experience, things that we've gone through as kids. It's time to start kind of looking back a little bit, at least from my age group, and talking about that. And also the big philosophy is, the dad, just because you're a dad doesn't mean you have to you step back for your kids. And with travel sports, we see so many parents. Where you lose yourself in getting the kid to practice every day or to the tournament across the state or the country. You can lose your identity in that. And life is, I think, too short to let that happen all the way. So if you can take care of one thing or a couple things about yourself to give you just a little bit of like swagger, a little bit of confidence going into this or that, or when there's a party scheduled, that you can look forward to it because your self-esteem is at a point where you can go out and do that. And that's what it's all about.
So where do you hope to be in 5 years with your channel, with yourself, with everything?
Well, I hope to be retired from teaching.
Okay.
At most, I've got 3. I started really young, and I started working summers too when I was like 19, 20, 21 at summer school. So it counted towards my retirement. And then I bought 5 years. So actually I'm 42. And then when I'm 46, I could have a full pension and be out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll be in, honestly, I don't know if my gut says I'm not going to make it to 46 teaching. I think there's going to be like, my gut right now is scary. I don't know if Betsy's watching still, but
all of a sudden the door breaks open. What are you talking about?
But if Dan's watching still, my gut says there may be opportunities that it would be silly not to take it, to go with. But I also have to provide for my family, and I have loved teaching. I think I just zoomed myself out. Or yeah, all right, and all that. But 5 years, I think that. I want to see us. I want to be on Dan C. Bearded channel. I want to be I want it to be, I don't know. I want to hang out with my friends and make money and, and be supported.
Dan agrees completely 100% with you.
He's still out there. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like what I can bring, and it has focus. Like what I could bring to Dan in the beginning was like consistency, honest, like just being truthful with him, which is a big deal. Those are big things. But I also I didn't have to, I wasn't all in. Like, it wasn't like I had to feed my family with this. And that has given me the time to transit, like both of us, him too, the time, like like we've talked about this, the pressure off the other side of things. Whereas, it's not about food. It's about, you have to do it on your off time. Like you're grinding when everybody else is like watching your show or whatever. But on the other hand, you get that safety blanket a little bit. And for him, being a newer teacher, then pay freeze, like it's not even much of a safety blanket, really.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. We're all rooting for you, and we're all rooting for Dan. And I think 5 years from now, I think you'll be exactly where you want to be. I don't foresee you guys slowing down by any means, or you specifically. And like I said yesterday, you impressed me big time. Like I was extremely, extremely impressed. And so, and for live streams with how many are going, that's hard for me to say, because truly, like, it was just really impressive what you did. So,
well, I appreciate, thank you. And I we wouldn't be anywhere without companies like Copper Johns, because what I know, first things first from Dan is, if something's good, you better say it's good. And if it's not, you can't say it's good, because it goes like that, but so I had like 2 years of kind of just like orienting myself in the market and understanding, feeling beard and having enough. You got to have legs. You have to have some time, experience to be able to speak to stuff and to ultimately have your own opinions about what's good and what's not.
Yeah, I agree. And thank you for that. And tell you what, though, like the people in the comments, from Ken to Nick to E to Marvin to Mr. Wolverine, I'll always call him Mr. Wolverine. I just enjoy calling him that. Nick, all these guys, we wouldn't be around without any of these guys. Oh, there's your wife.
Oh, there she is. Oh, she's
hey there, Mr. Mayor. I heard the post-retirement announcement from teaching. I just want you to be happy. There you go.
Yeah, she's the keeper.
She is
literally lottery win on that one. We've been married, coming up 17 years. No one, they could tell you that you would be a totally different human being after that time, and so will she. And it's just, do you grow together and change or go apart? But it's true. It's like, I don't recognize myself from even like 3 years ago, before that I started doing the beard stuff. Not just because I grew a physical beard, but just how happy I am, how much I enjoy my day-to-day life, how much, the fact that I have 2 live streams tonight. Like, that's, some people people think that, they value me and that value. And she's all right. So there you go. I knew there was a magic moment when I met you. There was.
Yeah.
I mean, it may have been a little bit more of a physical moment for me at the time. But that's all I was thinking with at the time as well.
Yeah, that's why I tell Candace, I'm like, there had to been physical attraction when I met you, because I found her extremely attractive. But we've been married almost 20 years now, and we're a better team than we ever have been before. And Copper Johns, like, we talk about how a lot of businesses, when you start business, it takes away from your family and all that kind of stuff. But Candace and I work together. We actually are closer and we spend more time because of Copper Johns, and because she helps do all the packaging wise, and I do all the making, and it's a lot of fun. So she goes, "What?"
Yeah.
But no, I'm with you on that. I think that's amazing. Good for you guys.
Well, you've been married 20 years. The truth of a marriage is that you are going to be really close at times and surprisingly distant at times. And it's about waking up to both of those moments and seeing whether or not you need to. Nick's flirting with her. All right, I'll talk about that later. I don't know exactly what that is, but waking up to those moments and doing what you need to do because of how much you value the marriage and the person.
Yeah, there was a gentleman. So, one of my religious leaders, he once talked about to men only and all this kind of stuff. He's just like, guys, don't be cruel to your wives, don't be cruel to them, all that kind of stuff. He's like, if there's a moment where you feel like you're going to be cruel, just step outside and get a cold breath of, go outside and get some fresh air. He's like, and brethren, I have spent a lot of time getting fresh air. You know what I mean? And it's just like, because I'd rather say something, I'd rather go cool down, because there are times where you're just like, how do you discipline a child? Or, are we paying this bill or that bill when you're just growing up and you don't have any money? Like, what do you do?
And you're in that moment, the moment, and you can't even see the fact that if you say this, here's what you get. You know, like, so go for a 5 to 10 minute walk outside, go walk, and you see if you feel like saying that in 10 minutes, because these are like, I'm a little that's how many dumb things I've said in our marriage, before I realized that it just doesn't do much good. You get to that point, it's about time to take a break. And we've done better. And honestly, for me and my perspective, I think that it ultimately comes down to where my happiness was and what was my fulfillment. Because when you really get upset in an argument, if you really take a look at it, a lot of times it's, what am I not, what am I trying to protect myself from? How have I let myself down? And where's my lack of confidence in one area or another? So be reflective about that.
Yeah, just there's that comic right there where the old guy's holding his wife's the umbrella under the rain, and he's getting sopped and he's all ticked and everything. He's like, marriage is like this. Sometimes it's just like, you don't have to like her, but you love her.
Right.
And I totally understand, because when you live with someone for that long, sometimes things just, I totally understand that.
And I believe, I'm a firm believer in, if you need to talk to a counselor, the sooner you can do it, the better. If you're coming up against heavy things, my wife's a counselor. She's a high school counselor. And sometimes whatever you need to do, to get past things. And when you love each other, it's usually just peel away one layer and you're kind of to what the real deal is.
Yeah. All right. So we're coming up on that time. We're probably going to go over just a little bit, just because I'm really enjoying talking to you. But
me too.
Now that you are more experienced, you have your own live stream and a successful live stream, what advice would you give someone who's experienced, a tenured, and also someone who is new at content creating and wanting to create a channel? What advice would you give them?
Somebody who's done it for a long time is to, I guess, I don't know. I would just suggest that you continue to really think about it. Think about content. Think of it from a content of why are people going to, what am I putting out there? What am I doing? Why are they showing up? Why are they showing up for the live stream? Why are they coming in consistently? And then also kind of like on the same one for the tenured, I would say, and then what are you doing next, and where you want to try to go, and how can you take risks without, like, safe risks with things and directions and that. And somebody new, man, again, my start, like to start lives, like my own independent live stream, was kind of crazy. Like, to jump in and have like a couple hundred people, giveaways on the first show.
That's not very common.
No, not at all. And that, whereas that amped up the pressure, it also, the chat is so vital. And using what you've got, the resources, but also having a plan of attack, an outline, so that you need to get somewhere with what you're doing, but you also have to have that flexibility of the chat. So if you're new, it's tough because you don't have the numbers. I realized what a unique and kind of awesome opportunity I was given with this. But on the other hand, I probably did 100 or more live streams, but just with Dan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like and for the first few months that I did them, I was pretty nervous going into it. Like, and you can see
it's hard not to be.
Right.
It's new. It's scary.
It's putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And once, again, I was lucky because there was already ways to be recognized I walked into that with what Dan was doing, what was so special. There was already that affirmation, whether it was like somebody would follow you on Instagram or you would, whatever just like I got a head start for sure. But you can't work for that. Don't work for that recognition, but do work worthy of recognition. So if you're going to start, what are you going to do differently? The thing is why, like why, why is somebody going to connect
want to
with
invest
you?
their time, because time is short.
Yep.
So, hey, Marvin, I'm still subscribed, man. I'm excited to watch your new stuff. I know you've gone through a lot these past couple of years, so wishing the best for you, man. So, next question I have for you is, all right, let's talk about your beard. So, what advice would you give? You have a whole show on giving advice to beards.
Sure.
Brands make a new one, came up to you in the market, in the, let's say, your grocery store, and just says, "Hey, I love your beard. How can I get a beard like that?" What would you tell them?
I would say don't try to get my beard, but try to get don't think of it like going after a certain look or that, but think about, do you want to have facial hair, and are you comfortable with kind of like letting it go for a while? You have to be, open to knowing that you don't love the way your beard looks sometimes and or whatever. Masks have been crazy because like I have to wear a mask all day at work, and it has, if I want to go somewhere after work that I'm seeing somebody, I'm have to either head it really fast and things like that.
Yeah.
If I didn't have a beard, that wouldn't be the case. But just I would say to a new person that wants this look, I'd say good for you. I think whether you've never had facial hair or you've tried like 15 times, really analyze when you stop, when you shave, or when you quit. What's your mindset with that? What is it not doing for you that you need? And then kind of try to push yourself. A lot of, like we use Beard Advice Live a lot of times. So like guys have started like checking in with us kind of, we'll give them some direction. We say, but it's like 3 months. So and having that accountability and being a part of this community is really good because, honestly, if I could have, I believe that most men, if I could have the time to get kind of like encourage them to get through certain phases, that they could like get to something they're very happy with. But we can't be everywhere. And that whole idea of, you're changing yourself or if you don't want to look a certain way. It's mindset. It's a mental game, and you have to be ready for that.
Yeah. So Josh goes, as I said before, thank you, Mayor, and everyone for being supportive and paving the way, not just for me, but for the guys coming into the community.
That's I'm thrilled. I'm honored that you would even see me as a contributor to that.
Yeah, it's fun. So we talked about like that. So what do you see happening? I asked Dan the same question, and he had some great insight. So I'm asking you now, what trends do you see within the beard industry for this year?
All right, for this year, I think beards are popping.
Yeah, they are.
They are they're the one customizable, acceptable face feature for men. And in a time when people are really getting in and looking into like being able to be more themselves than they have in my lifetime, or I think it is a great. There are so many opportunities for beards. So I think I see the demand being there. I think that we have so much to learn. For me, from like in styling techniques and take,
too. I would
like,
agree with that.
Taking things from like what the head hair market does and applying them. Like recently I just did a video on heat with layers for guys with short beards.
Yeah, how you did the layer and all that. Yeah, I love that.
Just to get it to lay down a little bit. There is, I could spend my whole life kind of, I think, learning things and taking them from other markets and applying to this. So I see that going really well. That was interesting. Dan was talking about the will they start really paying attention to FDA and all that with amounts of fragrance oil, things like that. He's better fit to judge that, but I would say that
but you can talk
sense.
about the consumer. That's totally fine. That's why I ask you too. Is like, what do you think?
I think COVID has put a ton of things on delay, and if we do get through it, get maybe after this variant or whatever, we can kind of pick up the pieces and get going again, which is my deepest hope for that. Maybe they get
How
back
you
to
can just go to a store and not have to wear a face mask.
right. Like the way it should be. Life should be like that, and we should be able to like see people's faces. I should know who my students are. I shouldn't be nervous about my Google Meet with them because they won't have their masks on
So I have a coworker, seriously, who stopped me at Walmart, started talking to me, and I'm like, I have no idea. Like I'm like, buddy,
can you go like that? Oh
yeah, no, I'm like, I'm so sorry, but I know the voice, but I can't recognize you. He's like, oh, I'm Rhett. I'm like, oh, I work with you. I'm like, I had no idea because at work you don't see his face, and it threw me off.
So that from that standpoint, it's been a delay even for beards in a way. It really has. But I feel like if you take that much care of it, you can't like show it off at work. What's the point? It takes a little bit of backseat. But on the other hand, guys were at home, so it was like growing their first beards. And we get one or two a show of guys that started up during usually the pandemic or No Shave November, and it's stuck with them. So I see that going well. I think the small batch, the idea of super high quality products is always going to be a part of it. I think regardless of whether some companies get big or what happens, there is a lot. What I see from customers, people that they want natural ingredients. They want, so that will always be a very important part of it. And as you get bigger, sometimes those processes change. If you're making a product to sit on the store shelf, it change. You have to look at the water content and things like that. So that I think that there will be a great market, and I think it's cool. I think it's getting to be cooler. My goal is that the idea of just to keep working at that idea of nice guys have beards, nice guys have good, just getting out of that mindset of that you're tough because you have a beard or anything like that, which is fine. You can think I'm tough. I mean, that's fine. but that even your toughness is a big part of who you are. When actually it's like a great way to express who yourself.
So all right, now we've come to the time where I do the would you rather questions. I think they're hilarious.
All right, we got some
dumb, but I do this every time. I even did it for Dan, and I did it for Ken, who was in here, and everyone else who will be. I'll do it for Jason, who's coming next. Everyone in the chat right now will eventually be on the show. Just because I want everyone to get that platform and have the opportunity to let us know who they are.
That's cool.
Yeah, and they support Copper Johns, and I want to support them, and that's the truth. So, would you rather? Okay, so everyone in the chat, I want to know your answers too. Would you rather always have bad gas or always have really dry mouth?
Well, I would go with the dry mouth because
really
it's more, it's not comfortable. Like I've had certain medications that have done that to, it's not great, but having bad gas is kind of like a little force field to the rest of the world, wherever you're going.
See, everyone's bad gas. And Sam goes, I'm not ready for that.
That's fair.
Dry mouth, bad gas. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that, but I hate dry mouth. But yeah, and when you have little kids, you can have bad gas and just blame it on them, and they'll own it.
Yeah, it's fine. Let a dog.
All right, next one. Would you rather have a time machine or a teleporter?
Let's see, time machine or teleporter. I don't know. I kind of like Rick and Morty, and that doesn't seem to work. The portals don't seem to work out real well sometimes. Yeah, I'm gonna go teleporter.
Okay, why?
Just who doesn't want to just be somewhere or teleport me food, teleport me stuff, boom, I'm there, I'm back. I hate riding in the car. I hate long, the time it takes to get places sometimes. So get me there fast. The idea of the Teslas that drive, just drive. You can take it, chill. That I think they like got into my head and said, what does Steve need next?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, see, if I could just take my whole family with the teleporter, I'd be all about that.
Oh, well, yeah, I assume we'll go one by one.
Yeah, because that'd be fun. I'm like, hey guys, where do you want to go today? That'd be fun.
Yeah, and
'Cause
like
I'm,
you could, I mean, if you can teleport into Disney, do you need to pay the gate admission?
Exactly, right? Yeah, I love traveling. That's my thing, is I'm all about memories rather than buying things, and so I love doing things with the family. As you know, since you will be there with us at Jackson Hole, I'm
Yes.
really excited. So I'm all about just doing trips and getting to have those experiences with people and getting to become friends and stuff like that.
Yeah, guys our age don't get to do that enough. There's the role of dad. I think it kind of goes into the whole idea of the Beyond Bearded show too. The role of, I think we need to really reframe that whole dynamic, that if we're going to model like what healthy and happy parent adulthood is, you need to have that, show your kids your friendships and all those things.
Yeah. Because where you might be struggling with a child or something like that, and then you go to Disneyland and they hang onto your arm and they have such a fun time. I'm like, that's something that as a dad I'm going to cherish, and I do cherish that, and I have that, and it's just an experience. I'm like, you get a little teary eyed because you haven't had that experience for a long time. So at least that was me. No, I'm not going to lie, but I got a little emotional.
Oh yeah, I'm still that person for you. That's beautiful. That's what it's all about. When a kid grabs your hand across the street or whatever. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's fun. So would you rather be a T-Rex or Triceratops?
Definitely T-Rex. I would be hunted or hunter. I'm gonna go hunter on this one. I mean,
okay.
They weren't that smart, so I'm not gonna worry about how dumb I am. I'm just gonna just make noise and go after stuff, and whatever one falls. But yeah, T-Rex, come on, that was a cool one. But Triceratops was actually one, I think it was like one of my favorites growing up. Stegosaurus was another, which I don't think even is officially a dinosaur anymore. But T-Rex, I mean, like, yeah, plus you get all the work in the movies,
right?
They need
to be the bad guy. And then also the good guy, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe a compassionate T-Rex once in a while. I think that, there's a spot for that. We're ready for that.
All right. So I don't know if Amanda's in here or not, but would you rather live on McDonald's meals or for a year or Taco Bell's?
Oh boy.
Right?
A year. Yuck. I guess I would probably I'm asking myself just for like getting used to it, because when I was in middle school, they actually had such a budget issue that we had McDonald's for lunch every day.
Oh, really?
McDonald's or Domino's pizza, that would be like every other day, and it was disgusting. It wasn't disgusting, but it was by the end kind of crazy. So, man, I don't know. I'm gonna go Taco Bell.
There goes Ken's Taco Bell. Back to the gas question.
There it is, full circle. That's the wraparound.
Oh, absolutely, it would be Taco Bell. I can't, but I don't know if the Taco Bell's meat is fake like McDonald's.
Oh, probably.
It's sad when there's a sign and when you go through drive-in through McDonald's, like now with real meat, or the one with real meat. You're like, wait,
yeah,
what have I been eating?
Less kangaroo.
Yeah. But so to go over a little bit about what's going on, guys, is the mayor, Dan, Cruz, myself, Casey. I know that Ryan, the bearded cheesehead, Jason Klein, I think Johnny Grooms, and a few other, Dave, Bearded Ambition. He's going to be there all at Jackson Hole. It's going to be June 30th. To July 3rd, and we have a lot planned. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to be announcing where the hotel will be for everyone to stay at a discounted price, and what time we're going to be doing the rafting and Yellowstone and the CMU and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a fun time. Definitely would love to see everyone at the Copper John's retreat. And if you have any questions, let us know. But in the meantime, we'll be presenting all that stuff here in the next couple of weeks.
We're going to do a Bearded Advice Live when we get there too. Like that.
We are. I'm excited. It's going to be really fun.
I'm kind of a little excited to go to school on you guys behind the scenes on your lives and just kind of see, Jay Cruz, what's his, how's he, he's got the music. His is like a party,
Yeah.
So
I had no idea the work that would, like I said last night, I have no idea how the work that is put into these streams. And seeing Cruz work so hard, I'm just like, and then having him see, at the beginning when he waves everyone up and all that, dude, being there in person, it really does pump you up. And you guys will be there. Who's there will be at in front of everyone and get to see him do that. So I'm excited.
Yeah, it all sounds great to me.
Yeah, Marvin, right? Yeah, we're going to Friday before the CMU, we're all going to go to Yellowstone. So, well, awesome. Steve, why don't you tell us a little about what's happening tonight, what time, where they can find you, and then I appreciate it. And then we can
all right.
head on out.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for more than just being here, but your support and the things that you've stepped up to help Dan and I with the channel. And
of course, thank you.
That it's a mutual thing and it doesn't go unnoticed for sure. So tonight on Beyond Bearded, we will be I've got some fun stuff planned. Some of the old, I've got the real reels coming back. I got about 5 things we're talking about with that. I have a new segment called After 10 p.m. For those of you guys that actually, that really know me, Dan always jokes a little bit that after 10, my filter goes out. And then I start dancing real on that line of appropriate, a little bit too close sometimes. So we have after 10 p.m. We'll be talking about, you guys just have to see what that topic is that I'm getting into.
I'll be there.
And then we're just going to go through, talk, hang out. I'm going to work on hanging out with the chat. We have Beard Octane as our sponsor, and they are going to do a couple giveaways for us. And I'm going to try not to. It was anything but smooth last week. Hopefully this week it's a little bit smoother. But
takes time, man. As Ken always says, life happens.
Yeah. And you might as well be in there experiencing it. So the next time you can maybe set yourself up a little bit better for success. But Beyond Bearded on Dancy Bearded YouTube channel tonight at 9:00. I would venture to guess that if you're watching this, I think you would like that show too.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. So, all right, everyone, I appreciate you guys coming. Steve, like always, you're an amazing person, and
My pleasure.
Appreciate you. So.
I can't wait to get to. I think we're gonna do. I think it's gonna go really quickly, because we're gonna enjoy each other. Everybody's gonna enjoy each other so much.
Oh, it's going to go so fast. I already know that because we have so much planned and so much fun. All the fun stuff. Seems like all the fun stuff always goes so fast. Like this hour cruise for me.
I could do another, but yeah. I know how it goes. I actually do have to do another later. So there we go.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful night, and we'll talk to you soon.